You've missed out on the global phenomenon that is Game of Thrones. Where on earth have you been? The creator of the hugely popular fantasy series and the writer of the books that spawned it, George R.R. Martin, has been appearing at the Edinburgh Book Festival. Thrones aficionado Grace Dent jumped at the chance to meet him.
This city always feels like a fantasy kingdom. A Gothic film set where you might expect to meet a knight, a wench, or perhaps even a dragon at any moment. But now, more so than ever before. Because this year, Game of Thrones has come to town. George R.R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire books have sold 15 million copies worldwide. And the subsequent TV series, Game of Thrones, has become HBO's most popular show of all time. The series is set in a fantasy world, but one in which magic is kept to a minimum and political intrigue takes centre stage. It's not about elves or wizards, it's about people, politics and war. And sex, of course, and violence, and sex and more violence and death. In my opinion, this is the greatest thing on television today, and I'm in Edinburgh to meet the man behind it all. Does Scotland and its stories, does that influence your work at all?
Well, if by influence you mean have I pillaged Scottish history for various scenes in Song of Ice and Fire, yes, definitely. It was my 1981 visit to Hadrian's Wall that inspired my own wall. Scottish history is wonderfully baroque and bloody and twisted and strange, and there's many terrific incidents in it.
These books, these tales, they've gone beyond the traditional fantasy audience. They've grabbed a whole new genre of people, me included. What can you pinpoint how you've done that?
No. I have no idea, but I'm very glad. But it's been a very strange ride here. I think in part because of the TV series, which has been enormously popular. It's just one of those things that occasionally happens when lightning flashes down from a sky and something just becomes part of the culture.
British audiences can sometimes be slightly shocked at the sexual content of Game of Thrones. You get some people that are kind of clutching their pearls, you know, they're shocked. How do you feel about complaints about sex?
You know, you can always change the channel. Sexuality is an important part of human life and part of all of our lives and part of the lives of all of the people through history. So I think leaving it out would be ridiculous.
Some of Throne's most familiar faces have been popping up across Edinburgh. Dame Diana Rigg is staging a one-woman show.
It's a rare enough thing. A man who lives up to his reputation.
Leave her face. I like her pretty.
And Jack Gleeson, otherwise known as King Joffrey, one of the greatest baddies in TV history, is also in town, performing with his group, Bears in Space.
Hey, you know, I'll have whatever he's having, but make it a double, huh?
A double? Sounds like you've got something you want to forget, stranger. Twice.
Within the group, there are faces that audiences will never have seen before, and there are faces that are very recognisable. Is that a help or a hindrance while selling tickets?
We're definitely doing it in the right way because...
Or the way we want to do it.
Or the way we want to do it, yeah.
Because I think if we push that side of things, we'd sell out every night and it wouldn't be a problem. But I think we're of the opinion that it might cheapen the show somewhat, just to kind of cheaply associate the show with Game of Thrones or whatever.
Yeah.
You got a new favorite show? It's called Game of Thrones.
But some performers are happy to jump on the Game of Thrones bandwagon.
Game of Thrones! Yes, you nailed it, you got it!
There's a Game of Thrones, the musical, called Winter is Coming. How do you...
There is, I didn't know that.
Well, there is. How do you feel about that? Would you like me to get you tickets? Do you want to see this?
I feel a little shocked about that because I actually own the rights to live performances of the material, so I think there's some copyright infringement going on here. But
No, they haven't contacted you about
no, this is the first I've heard of it. You're breaking a hot news story here, Grace.
I mean, apart from the copyright issues, do you love this, or do you think that's my baby?
The ones that really boggle me, frankly, are not the parodies of the show or anything having to do with the show, but the ones that are about me personally. You know, at the San Diego Comic-Con, there was one guy selling a George R. R. Martin doll, which was pretty freaky. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think some of my more belligerent fans are probably using it for voodoo purposes. Hi, how are you?
Although some fans are getting frustrated waiting for the next instalment in the series, George, in town for the book festival, inspires huge devotion in his followers.
Can't quite believe that he's like a few hundred metres from wherever we are right now. It's pretty special.
You know, he's such a fantastic weaver of a tale, and people just want to know what happens next, I guess.
Why is he wasting time here? He should be sitting at home frantically, right?
Are you comfortable with being so enormously famous and in demand? I'm trying to find a word that isn't inner peace. Have you found happiness?
No, I haven't. We came to the Fringe Festival like just 3 or 4 years ago, and 1 or 2 people recognized me the whole week that we were here. Now I walk the streets and 3 or 4 people recognize me every block, and it's transformed my life in ways that I'm not entirely comfortable with.
What message do you have for people who say, why is he sitting down here talking to Grace Dent when he should be writing the next book?
Yeah, well, I get that no matter what I do. Why is he watching football? Why is he eating dinner? Why is he doing any of that stuff? You know, you have to live your life too.
And you can hear more from George R. R. Martin online at bbc.co.uk/Edinburgh Festivals.